This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. November 20th, special meeting. I called this because of the Executive Order 2068. And where I just heard a tap, so I just make sure.
Yeah, but you're not gonna want it pointed up like that. If you speak, you're gonna need to have it pointed towards you. There you go.
Okay. Now where was I? I ain't slept much this week. I'm gonna say that. I don't think I've ate since Monday. Anyway, the way I understand it, the way it's been brought up to me, is we have two choices. We have the governor's mandate, or we have our mandate. The state house, wanted to stress that there will still be some local rule, and Governor Kelly went with that and gave us an opportunity to address this issue and make it our own if we choose to do so. But if we do nothing, Wednesday, we will be under this order.
As I read through it, I see no form of, if you don't do it in a business or whatever, who's gonna come spank your hands out there? I don't see no rules of enforcement here, and that seemed to be the big holdup the other day is rules of enforcement. So that's sort of interesting to me that they don't have no plan for enforcement.
Thought I remember it being, should be enforced by our local authority, but I don't remember.
I don't see a downside to the state to be the simplest way, because it doesn't limit, who's limiting churches and meetings now? There's a limit on, what, 50 people, or 15 people are meeting?
Not with churches.
No, but if I was having a committee meeting, we can't have over 15 people. And where's that rule at?
Okay,
It's
I don't
not
think
in
people
here.
can hear the meeting.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not quite sure why, because everything's on.
So Jonah, can you go over the highlights of this?
Well, doesn't it?
All right.
As I see it, it's pretty much what we already have in effect. Am I wrong? I don't see anything new in here. Am I reading it wrong? Am I missing something? I want to make sure I'm not missing something.
The employees have masks on when they're working, if you're eating, you can take it off.
Well,
Okay, we need to pause.
Yeah.
Because nobody can hear on the electronic meeting, okay? I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
What we have technical problems.
No. I purposely did because it was showing me. I don't want them to see me.
We can't see it here.
Okay. Mute everyone. We go into the settings.
Why don't we start on page 3, item number 2, because that's the new part.
Okay. I'm open. That's what this is for. This is.
And item 3 is the businesses. 4 is exempt.
facts on the front that talks about
Okay.
numbers of cases, deaths.
All of this, I can see.
Just, not
It's
just,
been added to from the get-go.
it gives Kansas relationship cases.
Touch this mask over and over and make sure. I have it.
Okay. Can the people on the electronic meeting hear the call? We may have to go out and come back in, unfortunately.
Somebody got that. Ankle back.
I don't know where that's
I
going.
like my tires.
Okay.
Place to hold. Is on.
Yeah,
Okay. The only thing I know is to try to end it and come back in.
it's got to. You might want to post in the chat box, maybe. I don't know
Okay.
if everybody understands that, but at least we tried. Give it a few seconds so that I can see the bubble when it pops up on there.
So go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it works generally and now sometimes it doesn't.
It's under pressure, Tina.
Apparently so.
Like my wife, I said, the phone, oh, she was wrong.
Yeah.
So she turned it off, turned it back on and fixed it. Couldn't make phone calls. My settings, like my settings on my phone. I said, turn it off.
Yeah.
Okay, can anyone that's on the call hear now?
50 cents, quarter, whoa.
Are you able to hear us now?
All right, Peyton sent theirs.
Can you hear now?
Anybody out there, can you hear
They
us?
cannot hear.
Hmm.
Okay.
Is it because it's connected back to here and on the TV?
It's connected to the TV.
Okay.
That's the internet. It's the camera.
watching, I know that really good.
Yeah, I think she typed it in.
It says turn off computer audio. And it keeps it there.
That's the wrong camera. Okay, can you hear now?
Yes.
Yay!
Thank you, Tina.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for what you do.
I'm so sorry.
It's a miracle, it's a miracle.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay, we should be good now. Sorry, I'm
need
gonna
to
start,
take
I'm
this?
gonna go to recording.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Need to take a minute to say Tina is a blessing.
I'm so sorry about that, everybody.
For getting this technical difficulty figured out.
Okay,
And I'll
let's try
start
again.
back from the beginning. We're good to go.
Yes, I'm just making sure everyone is muted on the other end. You're good to go, Jonah.
Okay. Just to recap what had been said earlier, and apparently our sound wasn't working, but it's the November 20th special meeting. I called the meeting to review the Executive Order 2068 put out by Governor Kelly, establishing a face covering protocol. It has been brought to me and told to me that it is either her order that we go with or we make it ours. One way or the other, we wind up with a mandate. And that's what I'm here today, is just to review, see if anything we don't like, we have the opportunity to strike or make more stringent.
I don't think you can strike too much. I think the only thing you can do is make it more stringent than what it is.
No, the leadership in the House has given her back her executive authority based on some guidelines, and they've decided to work together and meet in the middle. And so that was before. Before, you could only make it more stringent. Now you can make it more or less, and tailor it to your area. Because and I give her props for it. She was on TV the other night, and she said that she understands that what fits in one area doesn't fit for everywhere. And I know a while back she wasn't saying anything like that. So if anybody has any, start again. What page to go to, something that concerns them.
I'd say we just start, we're at the effective of 12:01 a.m. Wednesday, November 25th, and review what has been mandated.
Start on page 3.
Starting page 3,
Okay.
knowing that there's 64 other counties dealing with the same thing we are.
Yeah. And it's not my intention to make a motion or take any action on this today. This is mainly more of a work session, in my opinion. I mean, if anybody else wants to go ahead and move forward, that is your choice. I was not intending that to be today's meeting. I was trying to get ahead of it so that if Monday there's still issues, there's still time to have a special meeting prior to Wednesday.
I would say that this is the option here, this is the bottom line that we gotta do, or do something like this. But I hear that, just for instance, Dickinson County has a very directive that's pretty well laid out. And I'd like to at least, I would hope that we wouldn't just jump into this motion today, because I'd like to see what they have, how they have it laid out. If they do, maybe they ease it a little bit or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I briefly breezed through Dixon County. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to run it down.
Right.
I did see one thing on the N95 masks, that they didn't allow them to qualify as acceptable face covering for the general public, the way I interpreted it. And I would disagree with that, because anybody that's really trying to protect themselves or has a real issue or could really be devastated from COVID should be allowed to have that mask if they are able to obtain one. Because it does have a better filtration.
I've asked Tina to put it in our packet for Monday, so that's one thing I'd like to look at. I'd like to get some ideas if there is anything else other than this out here, but as I was saying a while ago when we was having technical difficulties, I see no rule of enforcement here with theirs. What happens if somebody don't do this?
I did notice that there is no expiration date.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I was very concerned about. I think we gotta have an expiration date, to review. I mean, we gotta have time to see if this is the right direction, or we need to do something else. We need to definitely have a time. I don't like the open-ended at all.
Okay, so are we gonna go through it? Like, can't start at the
Yeah,
same?
yeah, Kent was on page 3, and you can go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, whatever you noticed.
I'll just read item number 2, and then if there's any questions, and then somebody else can do number 3, however you want to do it. Item number 2, page 3, effective 12:01 a.m. Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. Any person in Kansas shall wear a face covering when they are in the following situations. A, inside or in line to enter any indoor public space. That one's pretty self-explanatory. And item B, obtaining services from the healthcare sector in settings including but not limited to a hospital, pharmacy, medical clinic, laboratory, physician or dental office, veterinary clinic, or blood bank. I guess somebody, if you jump in, if anybody's got a question.
Yeah.
Item number C, waiting for or riding on public transportation or while in a taxi, private car service, or ride-sharing vehicle.
And we had talked about that before, ride sharing. That could be a husband and wife, that could be a daughter and a mother, or just two neighbors, or two
So
people.
we need to have some more
This is
clarification.
okay.
Because, you know,
Because
you would think that would be like a carpool going to work, but
It says public transportation, so that would be two non-relative people sharing the same ride to work.
Yeah.
But it says, or ride sharing vehicle.
If we're
Yeah.
going to
That'd
make a
be two-
mandate,
two
I think we
strangers
need to
riding
make sure
together.
we try to iron out as much as possible, just so I would agree. I mean, if you have a doubt, that'll be multiplied across, and I don't think we want that. So I think we need to make sure we have some clerical notes on those items.
Yeah, I would have a problem with that one sentence, that one phrase.
Okay,
Item
so
D.
I will mark everything that has a concern, or one way or the other.
item D, while outdoors in public spaces and unable to maintain a 6-foot distance between individuals, not including individuals who reside together, or only frequent or incremental moments of closer proximity.
And I guess on the outdoor one, I struggle with that one. I mean, I would like something addressed there.
That one was written for urban spaces, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's a question mark.
I'll take 3. You want to take 3?
3.
Also effective at, this is item number 3, also effective at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, all businesses or organizations in Kansas must require all employees, customers, visitors, members, or members of the public to wear a face covering when A, employees are working in any space visited by customers or members of the public, regardless of whether anyone from the public is present at the time.
I don't know if
Problem
I,
with that.
say what?
I have a problem with
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's just asinine.
I mean, if there's nobody around you,
We implemented, everybody's wearing masks in our office.
right,
There's no public in there, but we're just trying to protect each other.
right.
Just kind of like here, we're all wearing masks.
But if they're allowed, if they were able to social distance,
But
you know, couldn't,
it doesn't say that, anything about, it just is workspace.
But the whole premise is you wear the mask when you can't social distance, is the whole premise.
and that's my thought on this whole thing, but I wanted to
We
make
can't
sure.
cut anything out of this, can we?
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
We can cut it?
yeah, we can rewrite the whole thing, but we have to have a mandate.
I mean, there's some common sense here in some of these.
Yeah,
I mean, you can make, a lawyer or accountant can make anything look bad or look good.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
B, item B. Employees are working in any space where food is prepared or packaged for sale or distribution to others. Locker plants or anything like that, but they usually wear theirs. They could have face masks on, locker plants.
That's basically the same thing as A.
Yeah.
The very first sentence of A, that's pretty much exactly what B says, they just added the word food to B.
C, customers, members, visitors, or members of the public are in a facility managed by the business or organization or.
Well, that's something else.
yeah.
I don't know what that.
I think it refers on to D.
Or, yeah, it refers
Or
on to D.
D, employees are in any room or enclosed area where other people, except for the individuals who reside together, are present, and are unable to maintain a 6-foot distance except for infrequent or incidental moments of closer proximity.
So I think those are all ors. Is that the way you're reading it?
Yeah, but
So
the
if-
only one has an or. But there's one thing I just wanna, no way do I wanna make the business owners have to be the police of this thing. Does anybody read that this is that way?
Well,
Not yet.
I
it
just
does
haven't
to
read
me.
anything about any enforcement.
No, it's,
Okay.
I haven't either.
So when it says, though, you must, that the business owners must,
Where do you see that?
then you are making the police of it.
Where do you see the business owners must?
Okay, at
With
number
three.
3.
Okay.
Okay, must
Must require.
So you are making them the police of it all,
Mm.
because they're not
So-
supposed to, yeah.
So does the word must would
That-
appear to me to be the enforcement action.
That's
That's correct.
Yeah, see, I could probably be okay with businesses, you know, taking care of their employees. I don't think they should be penalized if a customer comes in and doesn't want to wear it.
There's no penalties in here.
Well, I haven't seen the penalty yet either, but surely, I mean, to make a law, there's gotta be a penalty, right? I mean,
Well, I think the penalty is the penalty of public perception,
well,
and public scrutiny is gonna end up being the penalty.
I've heard, I haven't seen it in here, but I've heard there's a Class C misdemeanor.
It's not on these.
And up to a $500 fine.
Some of them are worded that way. I mean, they actually word it out that way, but I just don't see it in here.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I don't want it to get lost in the weeds somewhere, and then all of a sudden, we approve something that's Class C misdemeanor and a $500 fine. And because we're taking this lightly.
I would think that all business owners would want to help enforce it so they keep their businesses open?
Well, I think most businesses that I've been into recently, but I haven't been in everywhere, a lot of them have asked people to wear a mask. Or they have at least put something on their window that says, please wear a mask. To make them go above that, I don't know that they should have to be the police. You know, I could get where this is drawn up. I mean, this is drawn up with a more populated area in mind. And you have a Walmart, or you have people that you pay as greeters.
In a small business, most of your, 80% of your customers, you know, on a first name basis. And you're gonna have to go tell them, and it might be the last time you see them.
But, you know, I do believe that people that don't believe in the masks should wear one, at least out of respect to the other person. If they do, the other person, you know, leaves in the mask, you should at least give them common courtesy to wear it. And it goes the other way too. If somebody has no mask on, you should give them the benefit of the doubt that they have a condition.
But that's not happening.
Well, I know, but let's meet in the middle.
Let's
somewhere.
move on to number 4 because we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The following are exempt from wearing face coverings pursuant to the provisions of this order. Persons aged 5 years or under, children aged 2 years and under in particular, should not wear a face covering because of the risk of suffocation. B, persons with a medical condition, mental health condition, or disability that prevents wearing a face covering. This includes persons with a medical condition from whom wearing a face covering could obstruct breathing, who are unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove a face covering without assistance. C, persons who are deaf or hard of hearing, or communicating with a person who is deaf or hard of hearing, where the ability to see the mouth is essential for the communication. D, persons from whom wearing a face covering would create a risk to the person related to their work, as determined by the local, state, or federal regulators or workplace safety guidelines. E, persons who are obtaining a service involving the nose or face, which temporary removal of the face covering is a necessary to perform the service. F, persons who are seated at a restaurant or other establishment that offers food or beverage service while they are eating or drinking, provided they maintain a 6-foot distance between individuals, not including individuals who reside together, with only infrequent or incidental moments of closer proximity. G, athletes who are engaged in organized sports activity that allows athletes to maintain a 6-foot distance from others with only infrequent or incidental moments of closer proximity. H, persons who are engaged in an activity that a professional or recreational association, regulatory entity, medical association, or other public health oriented entity that has determined cannot be safely conducted while wearing a face covering. I, persons engaged in an activity or event held or managed by the Kansas legislature. J, persons engaged in a court-related proceeding held or managed by Kansas judiciary. And K, persons engaged in any lawful activity during which wearing a face covering is prohibited by law. Somebody have some of those to look at while I bring them out. Sports, I think Kent mentioned sports a while ago. On this G, athletes. Sounds like that they are going to have.
They're either going to play basketball with a mask on or cancel the season, looks like to me. And my question is, you know, a big portion of our population, including myself, fall under some of these. We're going to have to have a doctor's letter. I mean, if enforcement comes in, wants to fine you, You say, I don't know, I mean, anybody could say, I got a medical condition,
Mhm.
because you do.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, you know, having the doctor's consent to go back to school. I think that's, you're gonna start seeing a lot of that with the mandates, is that people will say, "Well, I've got a medical condition." And can you really question that as a business owner? Other than say, show me the proof.
As a business owner, you can,
As a business owner, would you?
You
Would I
can't.
ask?
You can't.
it depends on the circumstances. Yeah.
I mean,
I just think that that's so open-ended that it's gonna get abused.
so.
It's like a
exception-
handicap sticker, you know, they get abused.
I mean, you know, as responsible citizens, you'd say, okay, no big deal.
But G is an exception to not have to wear the mask. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
They don't have to wear a mask when they're in sport activities.
So I don't know why we want to strike that. I mean,
Yeah, the only problem I would have is with the Kansas legislatures don't have to wear them.
How does a basketball player maintain?
What?
How does a basketball
Well,
player
is that what it
maintain a
says?
6 foot?
They exempt themselves.
It just says they're
They're exempt if they're
Exempt.
athletes who engage in organized sports activity that allows athletes to maintain 6-foot distance from others
Go back to page
with
4.
only infrequent or incidental
Right.
moments of
That's
close
right.
proximity.
Page 3, I guess, the following are exempt from wearing.
Yes.
That's all number 4.
So that means if they're only,
Look at number 4 right here. Yeah.
Because athletes.
Yeah,
don't
these
have to wear-
are exempt.
they're not
They
staying
don't have to
together.
wear.
So yeah, they don't
I
have
saw
to.
that 6 foot,
Yeah,
to maintain the 6 foot distance
Yeah.
from others.
yeah. I'm just wondering if they are exempt, is what they're saying.
Well, I know Acacia has come out with their own
Yeah, and-
regulations
and
too.
no matter what we do here, the schools are gonna go ahead and do what they're gonna do.
Right.
So,
Like I said, the only one I see is I should be kicked out.
so can you explain to me how we could exempt athletes? How can you exempt athletes, but yet you can't exempt people from essential duties of, like going to a grocery store? Here you're exempting an athlete to play a sport.
It's a special group.
You're exempting athletes. I'm making a point here. Athletes get an exemption here, but yet you're not gonna let people go to the grocery store when throughout this whole thing it says where you can't maintain 6 feet. Now, I can go up one aisle while somebody else has got the other aisle, and they also give you, except for short intervals, as you're passing somebody by. I mean, the whole thing to me is give us in one hand and take us away in the other, and it just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And then to bring and let athletes do it. I mean, you're an athlete, you're out there sweating and body fluids are going everywhere and all that stuff, and jumping and running, and they're exempt.
There's been some clusters of athletes that have tested positive also.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm trying to figure out common sense here, the basic fundamental
Yeah.
sense.
So,
Thank you.
Like I said, I think the high school association probably
There'd be
takes care of
such an
that.
uprising of the
well, I was
public.
just trying to address the concern there on, so you think there should be another exemption as far as if you can maintain 6 feet?
Well, it says it right here, as long as you can maintain 6 feet. At the very beginning, where 6 feet cannot be maintained. And I haven't been in any place in a while that they don't have tape on the floors where your 6 foot marker is.
Where's the 6 foot?
Well, at the very beginning, doesn't it say, that these things will be where you cannot maintain 6 feet? Okay, so all these, okay, look at 3 at the bottom, it says, or present or unable to maintain a 6 foot distance except for frequent or incidental movements or closer proximity. And that says it at different places. The whole premise is where you can't maintain social distance of this whole thing. And it has been from the very beginning. Social distancing or short intervals. even outside, when it says public areas outside where you can't maintain 6 feet. But if you can maintain 6 feet
So-
for short intervals, yes, 2D, and then you have the same thing in D, 3D, same thing.
Look at 5B,
5B, are you saying?
5B,
D?
5B.
5, on page 5.
Oh, are you on page 5?
I'm on page 5.
And you're asking, okay, my page 5 is, and you're saying B.
And define public spaces.
Okay, yeah, so, okay, that's what I'm saying, that's right, that doesn't include your home. But it does include indoor or outdoor spaces or area that is open to the public.
Yeah, I think we need to read all these definitions and go back and do it again.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna help this, let's.
What it explains a lot, the last page tells you what all these words mean.
Well, public space is pretty much self-explanatory.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, but we passed that. We're trying to look for the worst scenario,
Yeah, and honestly.
not looking for the best scenario.
So, down there is issue enforce equally or more restrictive orders.
Mhm.
You can't be any less
Yeah.
restrictive than what it is.
Equally or more restrictive.
Right. So you can't really be striking
Some isolation,
any-
quarantine
anything.
orders.
That's kind of what I thought.
Retain any authority to issue or enforce.
I'm a salesman, not a legal person.
Public, what we're doing here is, item 5 is definitions. A is face coverings, gives a definition of that. Then B is public space, means indoor and outdoor space. 6 was, each one of them has a definition for things. And then 7 down here is local governments retain authority to issue and enforce equally or more restrictive orders or provisions, and retain any authority to issue or enforce isolation or quarantine orders or other orders necessary to respond to escalating or worsening conditions in any local jurisdiction. Counties may also exercise authority granted by KSA 48925 as amended by 2020 Special Session House Bill 2016, Section 33. So unless we go back and read House Bill 2016-33, like, we won't know, just, it says we cannot go any less restrictive.
Yeah, this is where we need a lawyer to explain that to us.
Yeah.
In layman's terms.
Well, it doesn't stop us from going through and
Yeah.
highlighting areas of
That's why I said we need to
of
read this.
concern.
This page.
That way the lawyer isn't trying to rewrite the whole book for everything, it's just these, I don't wanna say little, these specific items.
So I'm wondering, why as a county can't we just give a directive for all the incorporated cities to enforce their mandate according to their city?
Is this,
That would be our directive to each
Well-
one, because it's different in Ramona as it is in Marion.
it isn't, way, I understand it, the House, the leadership gave her back the executive authority. And that is not for, they've taken it out of our hands. The most I've been told is we can make it our own.
Okay, so answer my question, can we just direct the cities to come up with a mandate within the next 10 days and bring it to us and we'll approve it?
No, we have to have a mandate count.
So that, okay, but if it's for the, then you're also saying the mandate would apply then to rural areas without the.
It's gonna apply to your county.
Out in rural America.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't, I go back here, it goes, what does it say? Somewhere in here it says something about private property.
Yes, it does say about
So-
private property.
I know there's a lot of concern on that, because, you know, there's somebody out there that doesn't, I mean, this isn't going to private property.
Right, and that's what he just said, 5B says it defines public space, and that does not include private property or residential areas. So I would assume it does not also include pastures and all that other stuff is also private property.
Yeah.
So in essence, then it would not include rural America,
No.
except for maybe a very few areas.
Yeah.
So it would be just for the incorporated cities and the populated areas here in towns,
It's,
by its own definition.
does anybody read this at all that, I mean, I know I see some stuff that's questionable, but everything seems to apply, except for parts in the business part that I seen. Everything else seems to be 6 foot.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, the city people wrote this, it's for city people,
Yeah.
but we need to pass it so it covers every square mile of Marion County, even though it won't attain too much land in Marion County.
What?
Yeah, it's not gonna be on private property, I mean,
Yeah.
it says. I mean, that would just be,
You need to go to the road quarry that, you know,
That's a
can't
good-
Kent's Field.
but it isn't a business or private.
Well, yeah, but
I mean,
if you go to Kent's 40 acres, you know, it doesn't apply there, but only gonna be one person on that 40 acres.
Not always. Not always.
Well, this is for common sense. You-
I mean, you just said that one
We
person
said all
on
day
40
talk about
acres.
this.
That's not.
What
always
if,
the
what
case.
if?
yeah, so,
I mean, we're just trying to, of course, my life's been simple. I've been trying to do things the correct way and the easy way.
so,
We're just trying to read too much into everything, I feel. It's a good basic plan. It's real generic. There's not much, I don't know, teeth in it.
well, that's yet to be determined, I need to,
Well, I mean, you can make teeth in it, but
no, I wanna make sure.
you know,
what the teeth
any
are.
lawyer could take it, that, you know, ACLU, whatever the people are, they could take this and turn it every which way but loose. Kinda like we can't say prayers here because somebody objected.
But we do, there's a way to get around
Not
it.
in the meeting, we don't.
But we do.
We don't
before
do it in the meeting.
We do it before the meeting.
Yes, I know.
I said you just have to get
Yeah,
around it.
that's the way this is. There's a law, but you can get around it by,
Well, I'm not gonna go down that road. I don't like making rules that we set up to be going around stuff.
John, I sort of agree with you on the, just finding out if there's any, what the penalty, who's enforcer and what the penalty is.
I think that was one thing that they wanted the counties, so you guys to figure that out. I mean, they say it should be enforcement.
Now, you said you guys, aren't you guys?
Each separate county.
Thing hasn't made you wanna quit yet, has it? Come on, Kent, you gotta hold strong.
Number 7 there.
No comment.
It's been a little rough week, I'm gonna tell you.
On number 7,
On, yeah,
Page
that's
5.
Page 5.
Yeah, it says right there, local governments retain authority to issue and enforce equally or more restrictive, so that's your enforcement there. If you wanna tie money into it, then that's the next thing, and what entity's going to enforce
we
it.
just give directive to somebody.
Well, one thing I'd like to see on any enforcement, is make sure it's written in somehow that there's officer discretion.
Oh,
So how could you, 'cause see, then you're getting back again to where you're gonna pick and choose who's gonna get a fine.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess we're talking splitting hairs here, but most people that aren't belligerent or disrespectful, that probably take the warning and wear the mask that they give them because, you know, that's what in my mind, they give them a warning mask, or give them 3 strikes, you're out, or something, but the officers should have some sort of discretion in this.
Well, doesn't it say that in number 8, Jonah?
Okay. Sorry.
Says,
I've been on the
Yeah.
phone more. I never thought it was possible. I've been on the phone more than I've ever been in my life.
says it says Attorney General, county attorneys, and district attorneys.
Use their discretion.
But wouldn't that be after someone's already been ticketed?
Looks like now you can get a speeding ticket upon which, you know, by going to the county attorney.
Yeah.
Just gotta write a check.
Yeah. And you gotta pay a court cost.
And I think that's that's higher than the ticket.
Usually.
So then are we coming back to
Don't have
what the
to
sheriff said, that we're gonna tie them up pretty heavily if we start enforcing? You know, every time somebody calls in and makes a complaint or whatever. But then again, the sheriff's out here and said that they can't make an arrest unless they witness the crime. So maybe you have to just be seen by the sheriff like you would be if you were not wearing your seatbelt.
Well,
I'm just
that-
asking these things.
That seatbelt, they gotta pull you over first. And then you,
Looks like
Right, yeah, they can't just pull
selling
you over
drugs,
for
you
that,
know.
right? Okay, yeah,
unless it's
okay.
unless it's a checkpoint, I believe.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Well, I mean, I don't really wanna split hairs, but I don't wanna make a mistake.
I think maybe we can tweak, it may be something in here that we can tweak, but, the one thing that I'm really concerned about is not an expiration date.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to have expiration dates in order to get to look back, where are we at, where are we going?
I thought I was seeing on TV January 31st.
Well,
It says it remain in force till
let's just
rescinded.
address that. Let's just do that right now. Do we want an expiration date?
I would be in favor of it.
No. What should that expiration date be?
I'd like to look at it once a month, but maybe one of people want to go
Expiration
longer.
date, January 31st of 2021 with a review every 30 days.
What is
Yeah,
January
well,
31st?
When you talk expiration date now, just
Not-
look at
not
what.
expiration.
Expiration or.
I wanna make sure we word that as review.
Review, okay. But look at what you're hearing on the TV right now about our children going to school and then not going to school, then going to school on this and that, and you can tell just by the TV that, you know, they're getting tired of, well, we're going back to Zoom, now we're going back to school, and then, you know, so, and that's something that they've got, they're doing, and do we wanna be that way with this enforcement? I mean, not enforcement,
January
but
29.
expiration or whatever, review dates. Leave it on till it's, you know, do we wanna review it 30, 60 days and say, oh, it's going off, and then 30 days after that, oh, we're gonna put it back on? So,
I don't think you can, the way this is written, I don't know that, we can put an expiration date in it and
We're not making
review it.
We're not making it any.
expiration.
That doesn't
We're
mean
not
that,
changing
that
the
doesn't mean
stringent.
it would expire, it would be,
Yeah.
it would be I guess you could call it an expiration date or a review date.
Well, if I mean, just go back to this, is if the way this
Just
order,
last paragraph.
or the way things read,
Take your take.
is if we have our own, we're entitled to that, the way that I've interpreted it, and, or we got to go with what she's proposed.
Yeah, but
How that breaks down, I'm not sure.
If something
But
expires,
if
it has to
we-
change.
we can't really rescind it until she does.
Yeah, so
All we can do is review it.
that's what I'm saying. If we let
That'd be,
it lapse.
that'd be the term, it'd have to be a review date. Is this working or do we need to look at it again?
You got it.
Nothing, just that what Dave's looking at, that this is effective 12:01 a.m. on November 25th and remain in force until rescinded or until the statewide declaration of disaster emergency ends, whichever is earlier.
You got January, didn't you, not November?
No, it's in effect as of 12:01 a.m. on November 25th
Oh, okay.
through
That's it.
whichever is earlier.
So January 31st, Marion County's going down, And numbers, the clear at the last page, 5 of 6 at the bottom paragraph.
It basically says it's in effect until rescinded or
Yeah.
the disaster declaration expires.
Yes. So January 31st, the state still got it on. We don't have too much going on here. We can't get rid of it. So that's the way I
You
understand
know, all we can do is review it
Yeah.
and call our legislators.
Once you sign up, we're gonna stay with it.
it.
And what if you start seeing a bunch of other decline or other problems developing in Marion County as a result of this? You still can't do anything, right?
No. That's the way it looks to be reading, but, I mean,
Okay, let's say what you just said, Diane. If in January, if it is going up, can we come in and do something stricter than this?
I would think so. I think we always
Said
have
we
that.
could.
Yeah,
It says we
okay.
can.
It says we can, so.
No, that,
I think
wasn't-
Diane wanted to go the other way.
Yeah, I was going the other way. Let's
Well,
just
yeah.
assume that we
Let's
see a
use
lot of businesses closed, let's just see, we see a lot of maybe, I don't know, suicides or whatever, domestic problems, et cetera, and so forth. And maybe not a lot of spiking cases. We're still stuck with this, am I right?
I would have liked to seen them put a subsection in here that dealt with a periodic review of mental health, of law enforcement, of those kind of things which are critical.
Well,
We know that the mental health system is, they talk about the hospitals being overloaded, the mental health systems are overloaded. The judicial system's overloaded and they're not doing much. And, you know, who's getting left unprotected in the end, I guess?
I guess it's the healthy, hardworking person who wants to make a living. That would be my guess.
It's a middle-aged white man.
Yes, maybe so, I don't know, could be.
Because, you know,
Always has
one
to.
thing like this affects 3 or 4 or 5 other things quite dramatically.
Always have it trickle down. I really worry about the businesses. That's my number one focus is the businesses. And I guess I say that because there's 2 deaths, and I regret those 2 deaths, I really do. But as far as catching the flu, that doesn't bother me. You catch it, you get over it. But once you lost your business, you lost your livelihood.
well, I think we need to not bring the flu talk into this, because most people out there, and they're genuinely scared. They are genuinely scared.
I'm not saying they're not.
Right, okay, but when you
talking-
talk to them about the flu,
Mhm.
they don't get scared. But when you talk to them about COVID, they do get scared. So just,
But
we
the
gotta be
COVID is a
respectful,
virus,
we gotta
just
be,
like the flu.
we gotta be respectful in that aspect. That one thing scares them, but the other thing doesn't.
Is COVID a virus?
Yes.
Is the flu a virus?
Yes.
Okay, so what am I doing wrong by just calling it what it is? Now, okay, I got your point though, we don't wanna hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, no, I'm
The
just
truth
saying.
is the truth.
I want everybody to genuinely believe that we've taken it serious.
I'm not saying I'm not taking it serious. I'm just saying, you know, losing your business is also
Yeah,
serious.
and I
And
100%.
getting mental illness, batteries, you know, all this stuff that's happening to our families and stuff, that's very serious as
Right.
well.
And and it should be equally concerning based on, you lose your business, you're gonna have some mental health issues, probably. Hopefully you snap back out of it, but some people don't, you know, and it takes them down.
And what I'm also saying is the decisions that we make help put people out of business.
Right.
And that's the part that I don't wanna do.
Yeah, I don't wanna do that.
Well, the whole litmus test is going to be, by doing this, are we helping our businesses? Are we helping our schools? And are we adding a layer of protection? If 30, 60 days down the road, that answer is yes, I guess we can say, very good. But, you know, really, there isn't too much. Yeah, there's a few little tweaks in here, but isn't much we can do about changing it.
Hey, Tina, are the county clerks talking about this any? I mean, what's the other counties doing? It's been too soon.
There hasn't been a whole lot of discussion. There's been some discussion about which counties are open and which are not.
Yeah.
There hasn't, I haven't seen a whole lot of talk on this yet. I think everyone's still trying to catch up.
I understand.
There's 64 counties that
Yeah.
are doing the same thing that we are, either today or very quickly.
Yeah, for Monday, yeah.
We, talking with, Brad, and he said there's, I don't remember if he said 2 or 3, but other counties that have just elected to
Maybe,
adopt.
yes.
That just elected to adopt and go. I just got that news, so I didn't know that prior to anybody I talked to yesterday or today. I'm learning a lot on the fly. I thought we had the ability to make it less stringent. It looks like I'm apparently wrong on that one.
And like I said in the beginning, this is a good basic thing that covers 90% of the bases.
And we need to, yeah, there's just a few things that I wanna make sure about, in my opinion, on, we said, set up for review. We don't know what's gonna happen in the next 90 days. Maybe things change and we just let this thing keep going and going and never do anything about it. Well, at least that triggers us to revisit it.
I think that's wise.
There's, so by having a deadline on it, I would like to make sure that we review any penalties that are, what the teeth are. And it's our duty to make sure that we tell the public what those teeth are. Because they need to know how, they need to know. I mean, if they get a $500 fine, it's really gonna hurt.
But if you're saying that they're considering these as Class C mixed misdemeanors, how can we change that?
Right. I don't know.
I've never seen that.
But it's
yet.
something we need to,
That's a question I'd like to have answered.
yeah,
I don't want to see anybody get a $500 fine.
yeah. I don't, I'm gonna watch. Ain't none of this easy.
And I liked the new guy for Biden's health deal. He says this morning, what his deal on international news was, don't expect this government to attack this. If they give out 320 million doses, don't look forward to this happening very easily, because we've never tackled it before for a country to give the doses out and get it out immediately. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, but you didn't listen to Alex Azar though. They have it mapped out. They have the logistics. They have assets in place.
Mhm. So the US
And
Post Office.
I think when the green light is there, it'll happen quicker than you think, because there's been a lot of time and thought put into that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope there has been, but his outlook was not to be too,
Well, I'm talking about the current administration.
No.
It's headed up by a 4-star general.
They ain't done nothing yet.
Well, no, because it's at the FDA.
Everybody's at the starting gate waiting. to
It's
say
at the
go.
FDA. FDA's gotta say go.
That's within 30 days. Shit, what's he got left? 30, 40 days?
4 years and 30 days.
Not by national news.
Fake
I don't know,
news.
it just,
Fake
this
news.
is what's being handed down to us. If we can't find something else that we like, I think you have to do something.
Well, I'd still like to have.
Yeah, some
Okay,
of those things,
Brad.
yeah.
We gotta have Brad, because I was under the impression that have some say in it. I mean, I guess we can make it more stringent. But that's what we had before the executive authority was taken away. We could always make it more stringent. Well, on the gatherings, we could always make it more stringent, and I thought this was supposed to be different.
I just think it's sad. I just think we're gonna destroy Marion County. I know there's nothing we can do, apparently.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I just think this is sad, that we're gonna allow this to happen to our county.
That's been taken out of our hands at this point.
And it's funny, because everybody said, well, if you wear a mask, okay, so if we implement this, and let's just use our imagination, that for 30 days, you don't go anywhere in Marion, without seeing somebody wear a mask. And we still have COVID.
You're still
At
gonna
the end of
have,
that, right there. What do we accomplish it?
you're still gonna have it in 30 days.
Okay, let's say, well, we were
Right.
told at
She's-
first
it's gonna
14
take
days.
120 days to
14
get rid
days
of.
was where we were first told. So I'm being generous by saying month. And you should be able to eradicate if the masks are the answer, and it's a 14-day incubation period. Once you get it, 30 days would certainly cover that there should be no more.
Well,
If the masks are if the masks are the answer.
In the perfect world.
I guess my final statement, for as far as I'm concerned, is I don't think there's one of us in this room that's got the education that Doc Hodgson or Deidre has as far as medical wise. And so there are advisors, we're a county health board, and let's take some advice from them. See what we can do.
well, I think her advice is right here.
Well, that could be, but
That's our mandate.
it's a mandate.
That's not advice, that's our mandate.
Well,
Brad had emailed a document, so I'm trying to get a copy of that to all of you. I don't know exactly what it is, I haven't looked at it. He emailed it after the meeting started, and he said this might be what you wanted. I'm not quite sure what that.
Well, that's fine. We'll have time to review that document also. We'll email to all of us. That's fine. I don't know that we're doing anything more here. I thought it was going to be something else, and I apologize. Sorry to drag you all in here.
No,
Don't
no, it's
feel
just good to
bad.
be aware of what it's good to talk about it. I
And
have no
save-
problem.
save
So
the
what,
hour Monday.
is there anything specific that you need for Monday? I mean,
Indians.
all I wrote down basically after you've reviewed this was that you had a concern about the expiration date and the penalties
Yeah.
enforcement.
I
Is there
think we-
anything else? Because I mean,
There
I
is.
think we
He's
can
gonna
all
need-
go to the county websites we wanna look at and look at their mandate. It's
Yeah.
gotta be there.
The other thing is in the event that we're not reading this correctly, I'd like to see what Deidre come up with way back when we put in the recommendation. Because if
With that in more detail, that was, the size of crowds and
if,
stuff
if we're allowed to,
like that. And I don't think we wanna go there now.
no, yeah, no.
so what do you want to look at
I still would like to reread what Deidre put forth back,
in July?
yeah, when we put in the recommendation. I don't need the 2020-20, I got that already.
I looked it up the other day. I'll look it up again and provide it.
And it's just one more personal note I need to take while I got the mic here is, Monday, my, last comment was beneath me. No matter how I took it, no matter how I took the conversation going, I should have never let myself drop to that level.
What was it?
Doesn't matter, I was wrong.
Thank you for saying what you said. That's very good, very kind of you, because some people won't take something back that they did, and you
No.
did. So
We're all
yeah,
human beings.
we're all human
I
beings.
let the emotions get the best of me for a second, and can't be doing that. So with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.